Welcome to this meeting of Barrow Borough Council's Executive Committee. I'm Councillor Derek Brooke and I'm Chair of the Executive Committee. And first of all, I need to remind everyone of our domestic arrangements. It's important all members conduct themselves in an appropriate manner. I know with United winning last night, we'll all be very excited about United being top of the league, but if we can just remain calm and deal with this in a dignified manner, that'll be good. Put your mobiles on silent. If anybody wishes to speak, raise your hand via the raise hand facility in Zoom. And if you're not speaking, mute your microphone until you're invited to speak. If you are not speaking, you might still be on the screen. So remember that, behave yourselves. Do not interrupt other speakers. If you lose connection, we'll adjourn the meeting for 10 minutes and see if we can sort it out. So I would remind you that this is live on the council's YouTube channel with millions and millions of people all around the world watching us. The public and press can watch unless we have any confidential items, which obviously in this meeting we do. When it comes to a vote, I'll ask Democratic Services Manager to manage the process. So members will be requested to unmute and say whether you're for or against. And I think that's probably everything that I need to say that's on my script. And I think we can start, can we? Yes. Democratic Services to undertake a roll call.
Thanks, Chair. Councillor Barlow.
Present.
Diggins.
Present.
Blizzard.
Present.
Brooke.
Present.
We don't seem to have Councillor Edwards.
Apologies, please.
Apologies, thank you. Hamilton.
Present.
McClure.
Present.
Maddox.
Present.
Morgan.
Present.
Pemberton.
Present.
Roberts.
Present.
And again, we don't seem to have Councillor Ronson.
Apologies again, please.
Thank you. Chief Executive.
Present.
Director of Resources.
Present.
Director of People and Place. Director of People and Place.
Present.
Assistant Director of Housing.
Present.
Head of Legal and Governance.
Present.
John Byford.
Present.
Mike Otto.
Present.
David Joyce.
Present.
And Sandra Kemsley.
Present.
Thank you very much, Chair.
Right. Have we got any substitute members? No.
No, Chair.
No. Right. Urgent agenda item 2, urgent items. We haven't got any, I believe. Item 3, delegations. Any members wish to move any delegated matter, non-delegated? Does anybody want to move any matter to be delegated or undelegated? No. Admission of public and press. Consider whether the public and press be excluded from the meeting during any part of the meeting. Well, we have one agenda item that's in part 2, John. Do we have to vote on that, or is it just agreed?
No, we'll have to, the committee will have to move and second when we get to that item.
Right.
That'll go into part 2.
Oh, yeah, it says that further down. That'll teach me. I need to read all the script properly. Where are we now? But back to it, right. Item 5, declarations of interest. Has anybody got any?
Councillor
Chair.
Hamilton.
I'd like to declare an interest of being a Cumberland County councillor. It's mentioned throughout the report, Chair.
Right.
So I can't
Any more?
find.
No.
Chair, I've possibly got one in part 2. Do we bring that up in part 2 or here?
I don't know.
Either. You can either bring it up here, or if you want to bring it up in part 2. It's just bearing in mind it's a part 2 item, so it depends.
I'll wait till part 2. Sort of. I don't think it is, but I'll bring it up later. Thank you.
Right. Okay. Right. Agenda item 6, confirmation of minutes of the extraordinary meeting held on the 8th of December and the ordinary meeting held on the 16th of December 2020. Be signed at some point when I can get in the town hall to sign things. Do we agree that? Yeah.
Agreed.
Where are we at now? Public participation. We've had no requests to ask a question, make a representation, or present a deputation or petition to the meeting. So item 8, we finally get round to starting the exciting business, and Mike Otto is going to come and do a very exciting, riveting report on car parks and parking enforcement policy. Yeah, Mike, it's all yours, pal.
Okay, thanks very much, Chair. To really briefly read, to be honest, everyone, I'm asking that the car parking enforcement policy and accompanying guidance is adopted. I'm sure you've all struggled to sleep recently, so you've had a good old read of that, which will have tipped you over the edge. It's not something we've had previously. We've always adhered to the guidelines given in the Traffic Management Act, but to sort of come in and align with the corporate enforcement policy to give some uniformity to what we're doing. We've produced this policy which outlines what we do and what and why, and how it links in with things like the council plan, and the accompanying guidance is again really just documenting the way in which we perform our enforcement, and gives a bit of transparency and consistency to our approach really. There's nothing contentious in there. It's, as I've said, I think it actually is a positive move to give us a bit. It'll actually give us more accountability and greater transparency in the way in which we carry out our parking enforcement on our car parks. If there are any questions, I'll endeavour to field those, or if you want me to expand on it.
Thanks, Mike. I don't know. We've all had it for a week. Have we all had a good look? Have we got any questions or comments? No? Kevin, I thought you were going to have a question. Are you there? Your picture's gone off.
No, it's for the next item, Chair.
Oh, is it for the next one? Sorry. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Right. Right. Can we have a mover and a seconder then?
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
Right. Are we all agreed? Nobody against? We don't need a vote. We're all that, do we?
Agreed.
Splendid. There you go. It's only 8 minutes past, Mike. You can go back and do some work now.
Fantastic. Thanks very much. Bye, everyone.
See ya. Bye. Right. Splendid. Agenda item 9, waste collection and recycling, part 2. So this is down to Steph, who is going to, I hope you'll make this as exciting as part 1 was. It's all yours, Steph.
As you say, this is part 2 of the riveting waste collection policy documents. So again, this is to bring some consistency and a framework for us to operate within. I'll pass over to John Byford to give you the key highlights and delights of the suggested policy.
Thanks very much. I'll be as brief as I can going through. As you remember, in October, we brought a set of policies, mostly dealing with enforcement with regards to waste collection. There's another 20 policies here, which sounds an awful lot, but it just covers items that we just need to have consistency of the way we deal with things. If I can just very quickly run through them. The first one is on miscollections, and that just sets out when we'll return for a miscollection and when we won't. And that's easily that if it's our fault or the contractor's fault, we go back. If it isn't, we don't. The assisted collections is very much the same as it always has been, but we've now tidied it up to take into account the data protection rules and privacy policies. Then the next three are just on how we handle different types of waste. And then there's a one we've put in there that road end collections, we need to have a consistency of what roads we will go down and which we won't for the safety of the operatives and for the public. So there's a whole set of criteria there that the private roads and unadopted roads have to meet. If they don't meet that, we can give notice to people that we won't collect from their property. They'll have to move it to the end of the road. The next one is just how we deal with waste from charities. The legislation's changed on that. We used to have to collect from charities and offer either cheap rates or free, but that's changed now just to charity shops. And we're suggesting in there we just give the same allowance as we would to a domestic property. And all the other is classed as commercial waste. The next one is actually commercial and industrial waste. We don't collect commercial waste at the moment, although we do have a duty to collect it if we're requested, or should I say arrange for collection if we're requested. Industrial waste we don't collect, and if anybody does request it, we would have to get permission from the Waste Disposal Authority, which is the county council. The next 9 policies are all to do with different types of property, ranging from holiday cottages down to houses in multiple occupation, and it's just setting out what allowance we give for each of those properties and how we treat them. And then finally, you go from waste. There are 2 more policies regarding one's abandoned vehicles and the other's nuisance vehicles. And the report sets out exactly what the legislation says, and I'll be drawing up a new guidance for the street care officers as how they ticket vehicles and how we deal with them. The only addition to that is yesterday I had a meeting with the county council because you see that the storage and disposal of the vehicle is a county council function rather than a district council function. But we've been carrying that out at the moment, and that needs to be tidied up. So I spoke to them yesterday, and through the Cumbria Waste Partnership, we're trying to get a consistent approach for all the authorities and draw up a new contract for how that will be operated. And that's the exciting news done. I'm sure there must be lots of questions. Right. So
thanks, John. Well, when I was reading it, the questions I think you've answered it actually about the charities. I couldn't quite get my head around why there was one policy for the shops and one for like a charity headquarters or whatever, and that's down to national policy, is it?
Yeah, in the 1998 controlled waste regulations, charities were classed as waste for which household waste for which an authority could make a charge. The new regulations, when they came out in 2012, kept charity shops in that category, but moved the other charities to commercial waste. I think it was to get around a lot of the things where there was private schools and all sorts of things that were having free collections when they were clearly money-making organisations, although they were classed as charities. So it was just a tidying up of the rules.
Right. Okay, is anybody else? Kevin's got his hand up.
Thanks, Chair. Absolutely brilliant report, John. Absolutely brilliant. There's just a couple of pieces, Chair. abandoned vehicles. Councils have the duty to remove abandoned vehicles under Section 3 of the Refuse Disposal Amenity Act 1978. What first must establish if the vehicle is abandoned and not a nuisance vehicle is dealt with Section 19 below. Would it be possible through you, Chair, and John, if you're agreeable, to include trailers and caravans in that section? Because in the same act, they're actually classed as a motor vehicle. And as I get it constantly, and there must be other councillors as well, complaining.
They are included already. We just have a slightly different way of dealing with them, but they are classed as abandoned vehicles because they are vehicles.
Yeah, but it doesn't say so in the policy, though, does it?
We can amend that to make sure that's clear.
Yeah.
The referencing to the highways and such like does cover trailers. It even covers parts of motor vehicles that are abandoned.
Yeah, anything that could be attached, but it, you can speak in coded language, and so could I, because they're going through. But when people start reading it or whatever, it doesn't say that, does it? It's not straightforward.
We'll put that into the policy to make sure that that it's very clear.
Yeah, thanks, John. Thanks, Chair. And just another point, absolutely brilliant document, and what we've been asking for. Would it be possible, Chair, and through you, Sam, that we start in the very near future, start talking about underground dustbins? I had a phone call from Liverpool, and that's what they're introducing down there. Cambridge brought them in first. And I even went through the cabinet report to Liverpool City Council, where the narrow back streets, they put the dustbins down under with a massive dustbin. It gets emptied every 3 weeks, monthly. It's got its own gauge on it and whatever. Recycling's gone up by 200%. They're saving £2,000 a year on the cleaning of the back streets because everything's going down this whatever, and it looks absolutely fantastic. And it's so feasible. So what I'm asking for, Chair, is in the very near future, we meet as a partnership and talk about highways and talk about these underground dustbins, if it's possible.
That's okay with me. I can't think of anything more exciting than underground dustbins to have a meeting about, Kev. I think that's cool.
Yeah, just from an officer point of view, we'll facilitate that outside this meeting.
Thanks, Chair.
Lee, got your hand up?
Yeah, just a quick one. I think having a clear policy is very important. It's shown us all the work we've been doing trying to address these sort of issues, ongoing process. But it's just pleasing to see as well the reference to a community engagement plan and the publicity campaign, because that's an important step of the process of making sure the public can do the right things and not sort of unwittingly causing a problem. I think we've experienced that in the past with the recycling procedures and what you can and can't do, how important it is for some clarity for the public. So I think it's important and that's in there as well. Thank you.
Any more questions? No? Are we right now then? I've got too many different documents open here. Let's have a look. What am I doing now then? Right. Have we got any more questions? No, are we okay? Right. Do we have a mover and a seconder for the approval of the recommendations?
I'll move it, Chair.
Seconder. Wendy, seconder. Right. Are we all agreed?
Agreed.
Yay. And we can look at underground rubbish. That would be cool. That's really 21st century. This is really moving forward. Right.
You've made my day.
You remember you're a womble.
Right. That brings us to an end of the public section of the meeting. And may I please have a mover and a seconder to go into part 2?
I'll move it.
Right. We all agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Right. Wait till Livestream confirms we're not in public. Right, thank you very much. We have agreed we've dealt with agenda item 10, which was in part 2. So you better read something about that on the internet when we publish the minutes. But that brings the meeting to an end. Thank you very much. Hope you all enjoyed it. See you.